everybody, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So I'm going to do a bit of an update on my family history planner. I know it's been a while since I've done anything on this one, so I'm just going to give you an update. I have finished now all the pages. They're not all filled in and I'm not using them all properly yet, but I have finished them all. So I'm going to show you what I've done with the rest of my planner, and I'm just going to basically walk you through the whole thing. So we'll just open her up. This is what I've done on the front. This is the Be Brave adhesive note set. I've just taken some of them out, cut them onto some cardboard. I don't like the little notepads that came with this originally, so I just got rid of them and put this in its place. Sticky notes are much easier than just paper because they'll actually obviously stick to where I want. I then just made myself a little bookmark. If I was at the library reading a book, it was just always really helpful to have a little thing to stick in there if I needed to go out. And then I've just got some extra post-it notes just in case these are too big, too small. And I just got these from Officeworks. I'll link them down below if I can find them, so the link will be down below. I've then got the plastic envelope or Ziploc thing that comes in the Be Brave planner dashboard kit. That's just there as decoration basically, but I can put little notes in here, which is what this is back here. It's just a little note that I made, or someone made for me, just so I don't lose little bits of paper. So that just lives in there. And I just love this quote, so it's just a little quote to go on the front. So the first tab here is just a protector basically. It's not there to do much else. This is also out of the Be Brave dashboard kit. It just keeps the little photos. So I haven't done these people yet, so the photos of them are just hiding in there so I don't lose them. So the first tab is my personal information tab. So what that has in it is just basically one piece of paper. So it has this little design that we just found online and I just thought it was really pretty. It just has my contact information. So obviously when I fill this in, it'll have my name, my phone, my email address. This is for a photo, and it's because I wanted it to be personalized. I wanted it to be something that everybody's would be different. So if a bunch of people, which if you guys want these, just let me know. I'm quite happy to send them to you for a small fee, just for the design fees. I can do it either digitally, or I can actually print them out, publish them and send them to you. I just wanted everybody's to be different. If someone did buy it, I wanted 4 people to open it up and it looked completely different. So that was the plan there. And then just a really family history related quote. Other things may change us, but we start and end with family, and I just think that's really great. So on the back here, I've got a bunch of spaces for passwords. So if you do your family history, you'll know there's lots of websites like Ancestry, like Find My Past, like Roots Chat, that you need to have logins for. So I put this here so you've got your site name, so you can just write Ancestry, and then you can put the actual website there if you wanted to, what your username is, what your password is, and just a couple of little spaces there for some notes. Some people like to write extra notes down there. The reason that I put this in here was because I forget my passwords constantly, and the best thing about it, I thought, was that even though it is at the front, and I know it's at the front, a lot of people, if you did lose this and you were panicking about somebody stealing all your passwords, which to be quite honest with family history, I don't think you'd be freaking too much out about, but it's really easy for someone to just go, okay, cool, and flip to the next bit. They're actually going to skip that bit. So that was the thought of putting it on the left-hand side rather than the right-hand side. So that moves us into the next section. So this is my to-do section. This is a section I have been using very often, especially when I was on holidays in Adelaide. I was using this, and I kind of used a colour code system. So I would write down my person, so the person I was looking for first, and then all the things I needed for that person. So I would have the marriage certificate, the death notice, the death certificate, the grave image, and whatever else it might be. And then where I would go to find them, so that's what the black ticks are for, where I would think I would find them. So the newspaper death notice, I thought the best chance I had of finding that was at the library. So I had that one tick there. The marriage certificate, I thought either the Genealogy Society would be the first place to look, and then if I couldn't find it, I'd go to Best Desser Marriages. And when I found it, they got ticked off in red. So I knew I'd found it, it was all good, and then I'd just write done next to it, so I knew I had it. So I've got a bunch of those because I had a lot of them. And same thing if there was a funny sort of question I had about that person that I needed to find. So for example, this one, died of abnormal labour, so that was the cause of death. But she didn't actually, she died like a year and a half after she had a child, so I don't quite understand how she dies of abnormal labour that much longer. So if it was something I didn't know where I would find that information, I still don't know if I can find that information. But I have a little box here for unknown. So my tabs across here are library, genealogy society or family history society, births, deaths and marriages, other, which is if you know where, but it might be other and you just write that in, or unknown. If you honestly don't know where you're going to find that information, that might be one that you would tick. So they're the sort of the lines I have along there. There, all there. So then got a bunch of blank ones. The next tab here is my person information sheets. Now I've done a walkthrough of this one already, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking at these because I will link that video down below. And if it's something you want to go and have a look at, definitely go and do that. So I'm going to skip that section. So the next section here is for charts. So that's exactly what it is. Basically, I'm just printing stuff out and I'm just showing so it makes sense. And all I'm doing with this planner to start with is just the people who were born, that's not true, just the people who died in Australia. So if they came out from England, that's fine, they can be in this part of the research, but I just want to find them from where my real Australian roots start. Once I've got this part of the family down pat, which is I think 4 generations back on both sides, once I've got this side down and I've got all the information that I can about this side, then I'm going to start looking broader and go back to England. And I know I've got English, I know I've got Irish, Scottish, Welsh, yes, I'm all over the place, and a bit of German. Then I can go looking for those, but then I've got my roots are done and I can start branching out a bit further. So I've got 2 trees there. I've got I'm only doing my mum's side on this particular family history journey at the moment. So I've got my mum's side and my mum's dad's side. So that's those 2. I then got the certificate section. This part's not finished. I've got a bunch that I need to print out still that I've had transcribed. So I will eventually put these in here as well. But so I just have them all. They're in loose alphabetical order as much as I can. Now, marriage certificates, obviously, I don't want to have 2 versions of them. So I'm kind of filing them alphabetically by the husband's name as often as I can. So for this one in particular, this is the child, this is a birth registration, so it's B for Bowden, so it's at the start. This next one though is a marriage certificate of that child's parents, so it is filed under B for Bowden as the father. And all I've done is I just put the picture there. I've bought this online and scanned it, and I've just put a transcription there so I can read it, because a lot of the time some of this handwriting is really hard to read, it's not always legible. So that way I have a transcribed copy, I can just look at it and go, oh, good, nice. Much simpler. So I've got a couple of those. I've got a death certificate there, same thing. Some of this writing's really hard, so I've just transcribed it so it makes sense to me. I've got a bunch of them in there. There's a bunch more to come, so they will go in there when I get to them. The next section here is a bit more wishy-washy, I guess is the best way to say it. It's my records section. It's basically anything I've found that pertains to a person that I have mentioned in the person information sheets. So, to give you an example, I'll go back to this person information sheet for a second. And I will find, I need the bees. These. I'll find the Bowdens. Oh, there's just so many people in my family. So I'll go back to this one. So for Samuel Bowden, so he immigrated to Australia in 1868. So what I have in the back here is I have in the notes section, because I don't have an immigration section because it's obviously only going to pertain to one generation. So I didn't worry about putting that in there. But I have my little immigration note, immigration aboard Rockhampton passenger list in record section. So that's exactly what it is. You flick to the record section and there it is. I obviously have this bigger. This has just been shrunk down so that it fits in my book. But I know exactly where they are because I've looked at this record about 1,000 times. But that's just all I'm doing. So I'm just saying that piece of information, if you want to see the actual copy of it, is in here. These have all got sources on them. So it's got a passenger list, 1852 to 1865, page 401 to 600, access at the Queensland State Archives. And it's got exactly where I can find it. So if I ever lost this, or if I ever needed to find it again, like I lost my digital copy, that would be easy enough to go and find because I know exactly where it is. So there's a bunch of stuff in here. It's not in any kind of order whatsoever. It's just sort of put in there where it fits. Some of it's back to back. It's got anything from shipping records, newspaper articles, obituaries that I found in the papers, and I don't quite know how to organise this bit yet, but just for now, this is working. So I just sort of chuck it in there and then I can go find it. There isn't enough in here yet to really make it too confusing. So that is something that I may go over later, but at the moment it's working fine. The next section, which I have not filled out very much at all, is my sources and sites section. I have designed them, but I haven't used them properly. Basically because I've been using the same 6 sources and I know them very well in my head. So the first page is your frequently used. So stuff like if you use Ancestry a lot, you put Ancestry in here and then you put the particular source that would pertain to a bit of information. Obviously you should be doing that in your person info sheets. You should be writing your sources along here. So I think I go through that in my other video. If I didn't, let me know and I'll go through how I'm keeping track of all my sources and stuff. But basically this is just a collection. This is where you put it all. So that's the frequently used ones. And then I've got a couple of pages of others. So if there's just something that I've found one piece of information on, I can write that source here. I know where to find it again if I need to. And then the last section is my notes section. This has no rhyme or reason to it whatsoever. Most of it's handwritten notes, handwritten drawings of trees, of dates, of random stuff that I've kind of just chucked in there, and it's just there so that if I need to go back, if I'm like, I know I wrote something down at some point, I can go back and find the note. So you never throw anything away because you never know when you might need it. I've got a bunch of other notes right here at the back too. And it's just, this is just Kikki K paper. It's not anything in particular that's very special. So that, oh, and then at the back, sorry, I just have the Kikki K notepad that came with it. So that is my updated family history planner. Like I said, the pages are all now done. That is how I'm going to stick with the design. Oh, sorry. I also have a couple of little bits and pieces in the front pocket, which I forgot to say. It's basically now how I want it. It's just a matter of little tweaks that happen to it as you're going along. But right now, this is how I like it. If you guys have any questions at all on this planner, how I've set it up, why I've done something in a particular way, please leave me a comment below. I'm really interested to see how other people keep track of their family history stuff. I know this is kind of out there way to do it, but it seems to be working. I got a lot done when I was in Adelaide, and I'm 90% sure most of it was because I had this and I knew exactly what I was doing. It was a very organised trip. So yeah, like I said, leave me a comment below if you guys do this too. If you'd like to see anything in more detail, I'm happy to go through it with you. If you want to see more videos about family history, let me know and I'll do that too. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys again really, really soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.